Hi, we're continuing our learning of the Mishnah having to do with Shabbat, and we're still talking about carrying between domains or within the public domain and the restrictions on that. And now we're going to look at the way in which something is carried. This Mishnah is dealing with that. So we're up to Hey, Mishnah 5. Hamotzi kikar l'reshut harabim chayav, hotzihu shnayim petorin. One who takes out a loaf of bread out to the public domain is liable. If two people took it out, they're both exempt. This is because it's something that can easily be done by one person, carrying out a loaf of bread. So by two people doing it, it detracts from the amount of labor that any individual is doing, and therefore it's patur, which means that it's exempt from biblical liability, still rabbinically prohibited. Lo yachol echad lehotzio ve'otziuhu shnayim chayavim, Rabbi Shimon poter. So if one could not take it out by himself, and the two took it out, so let's say it's something really heavy, now it's not just a loaf of bread, they are both liable, because having a second person involved doesn't detract from the amount of labor that any one person is doing, because one person couldn't have done it on their own. Let's say it's something extremely heavy that you need two people to do. It's impossible for you to do it on your own, and therefore still liable to two people who are doing the act together. But Rabbi Shimon says, exempts them. So Rabbi Shimon is thinking about it differently. He's not thinking about whether or not it could have been done alone. He's thinking about just the fact that the labor is split by two people makes it patur. Okay, so different approach. Hamotzi ochalin pachot mikshior bechli, patur af halakli, shakli tefela lo. So one who takes out food, an item of food, less than the amount, the prescribed amount, meaning the amount that we would have been liable for just the food by itself, but in this case it's in a vessel, is exempt even for the vessel. So normally we said if it's less than the shiur, just the food, you would be exempt. But now we're saying it's less than the shiur, but it's in a vessel. So it should be, you think this big vessel or something, substantial would make one chayav, would make one liable. But here it's saying because the food is the primary thing that you want, and that's less than the shiur, it doesn't matter that it's in this vessel that might be more significant and count on its own, because it's the secondary thing. So even the vessel one is exempt for. Okay? Etachai b'mita, so one who takes out a living person on a bed, patur af halamita, shamita tefela lo. So it's a very similar kind of idea, that if you carry out a person, because a person is able to carry itself, to move on its own, this is a person that's not otherwise, that's living, not otherwise handicapped in any way, they're just being carried out on this bed, then because they could walk on their own, it's not considered liable, and even the bed that is tefela, it's secondary to the person, which could move on their own, and therefore one's not liable for carrying them. So similar to the small amount of food, so the item itself, the object that you want to move is something that is either insignificant in the case of the food, not the shiur that would make one liable, or something that can move on its own, similar kind of idea, and therefore the secondary thing, the thing that's being used to carry the object, also becomes exempt. Okay. Et hamet b'mita chayav, but a corpse, a dead person on a bed, one would be liable for carrying, because that's not a person who's no longer living, cannot carry themselves. V'chen kezayit min hamet v'chazayit min hanevela v'cha'adasha min hasheretz chayav. Rabbi Shimon poter. And similarly, one who takes out just part of a corpse or a piece of an animal carcass that's this certain volume, or a piece of a dead kind of like bug or something like that, sheretz, like a creepy crawly, the size of a lentil, he would be liable. So these are the amounts of things that cause tuma, that cause ritual impurity. So because it has a function, it can cause tuma, and you're removing it to get rid of the tuma, so you actively want this thing gone, then he would be liable. However, Rabbi Shimon says this person would be exempt for removing this tuma, and that's because of Rabbi Shimon's opinion about malacha she'eina tzricha legufa, this halachic idea that labor not being done for its defined purpose. So you're not moving the tuma thing because you want to store it, you want to move it somewhere else to use it for something. You're moving it to get rid of it. You don't actually want the thing. And therefore, because of that justification, Rabbi Shimon says that this person would still be exempt, even though the opinion stated before Rabbi Shimon is that this person would be liable because it is something that you do want to get rid of. Okay, we'll stop there, and then next week we'll do the final Mishnah of this chapter, and we'll be moving on to the next chapter. Okay, thanks so much. See you next time. Bye.